So the next speaker we have is Ben Brown, who is going to demonstrate his excellent knife skills in the kitchen, and I'm sure that he's had plenty of time to practice. So Ben, take it away.
Thanks, John. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Brown. Actually, believe it or not, I have been on this stream the entire time. I've actually been running this stream. But for this session, I decided to step in front of the camera. When I am an amateur cook right now, but I was a professional cook for a bit. I worked in kitchens and restaurants in Boston and back home in Cincinnati. And so I wanted to show you guys some basics of knife skills and basic kind of kitchen prep stuff. I see a lot of home cook videos and things like that where people don't really know their way around a knife. And that's one of the most dangerous things you can do. So I wanted to show some really safe, basic ways of handling a knife. So I first want to very quickly go over the different types of knives that are kind of in your kitchen. Your basic workhorse knife, the knife that is really 90% of what you're doing in a kitchen, is your chef's knife. Something like this. This is an 8-inch. It's made by Victorinox. I love these knives. They are fantastic starter knives. I think they're under $30 on Amazon. They're wonderful. They've got a plastic handle, so you don't have to worry about them getting thrown in the dishwasher, getting banged around the sink. They're not that expensive. They keep a really nice edge. Love these. Like I said, this is your workhorse. This is going to do 90% of what you want in the kitchen. The only other kind of knives you're going to really need in a kitchen, let me step back. Like I said, this is an 8-inch chef's knife. This is a 10-inch. This is mine. This is what I used working in kitchens. The only reason I tend to like a 10-inch more than an 8-inch personally, I have bigger hands, and when I was working in kitchens, I had a lot of workspace and really big cutting boards to work on, and you want a bigger knife for that kind of environment. I really like a 10-inch, but today we're going to be working with the 8-inch because that's what most of you will be needing to use. Put that one back. Your only other kind of knives, like I said, a chef's knife will do most of it. Your only kind of knives are a bread knife, a serrated knife. Again, you can get these relatively cheap on Amazon. Get a cheap bread knife. Don't go hog wild and get an expensive one. They should only be used for bread and maybe tomatoes if you're that kind of person. But chef's knives are really bad at bread. You need a serrated blade to get through the crust on bread. And the last kind of knife is a fillet knife. Really, if you're doing deboning or you're doing breaking down chicken or stuff like that, you want a fillet knife. It's just smaller, can get in between joints, a little more maneuverable. But like I said, I'm going to show you guys what to do with the chef's knife. Like I said, 8-inch Victorinox. So to start, we're going to talk about kind of the anatomy of a knife a little bit, because I'll be referring to these. You've got the belly of the knife down here. So down this area is the belly, you have the body, and you have the tip or the head of the knife up in here. And we will be using the entirety of the knife to do different kinds of cuts, different chops. You can do really fine detail work with the tip. You can do your chopping with the body. They're very versatile. So next we're going to talk about grip. This is kind of the basic on safety is how you hold the knife, how you actually grip the knife. We're going to do what's called a pinch grip. You're going to pinch the base of the blade between your fingers like this. You can see I'm pinching really at the bottom of the blade, and I'm going to let the rest of my fingers naturally wrap around the handle of the knife, okay? You can see how that is. I'm pinching and I'm holding. Never grab a knife like this where all your fingers are wrapped around the handle. This is inherently unstable. It can lead to twisting and let the knife get away from you. So we want to pinch, we want to wrap, and we want to hold it like this. This is our key. The second thing to then consider is what our other hand is going to be doing. Your other hand's going to be holding the food that you're going to be preparing, what's called a pinch grip, or a claw, rather. Your fingers are going to be down and they're, going to be curled back. This is extremely important because we're going to be using that left hand to guide the knife. Yeah, actually, it's going to be touching the physical side of the knife. And we want everything curled back so that nothing is actually under the blade as we're chopping down, so we don't lose parts of our fingers, which I have done many times. I speak from experience on this. So we're going to start with celery. How to do a basic chop on celery. I like celery to start out with because it doesn't roll. Can everybody see the board okay? Is this good? Okay, cool. So we're going to lay the celery flat down on the board. Boom. It's not going to roll anywhere. It keeps it nice and stable. We're going to hold with the left hand the celery like this. Notice how my fingers are curled back like this, but I'm still raised up. And the reason we're going to do this is, like I said, when we're actually chopping, this knuckle, this middle knuckle on this left hand is going to be guiding the blade. It's actually rubbing the blade. You can see that. That is how we're going to be. This way. We're going to be guiding the knife. I can't really show you the. See if you can see that. You can see that it's going to be guiding the knife. That motion that I was doing, that rocking motion, is what's called a rock chop. This is your basic cutting motion. Notice how the tip of the knife never actually leaves the board. I'm not pounding up and down. I'm rocking through the motion. This is the cutting motion that we're going to be doing. So let's bring that all together. So we got the pinch grip, we got the claw, and we got the rocking motion. We're going to let the knife do the work. We are not sitting here going like this and pressing into the food and chopping. The knife is very sharp. Let it be sharp. Let it do its work. It should be as effortless as possible. It should glide through the food. And all we're doing is bringing the knife up, slicing down, and slicing through the food. Again, I'm rubbing my knuckle along this to help guide where I'm going. And I'm just moving myself down the vegetable. You can see how that's working. I'm just rocking. I'm letting the knife do the work. I'm not pressing like this. I'm not doing a chop. That is a technique. We can do that. And if I have time, I'll show you what tools to use if you are going to do that. But this is your basic rock chop. The benefit of this rock chop is it leads to even and consistent size pieces. Consistency and sizing and thickness of the food is really important when you're talking about cooking, especially when you're talking about cooking times. For instance, if I have a piece that's two different pieces of food, right? Same thing, came up with the same thing. One is a piece of celery this thick. One is a piece of celery that thick. If I throw these both in the pan at the same time, this one's going to cook a hell of a lot quicker than this one is. And this one's not even going to be cooked before this one's well overdone. So we want to make sure we have consistent piece sizes. That's why we do this slow moving with the left hand. The speed at which you move your left hand is going to dictate the size of the piece. If I go really slow, all my pieces become wafer thin, you know? I mean, I can get them nice and thin, see-through even. If I move slow, if I move fast down the food, all of a sudden they become nice and thick. That is one of the key reasons why we kind of keep that blade in contact with our hands so that we can vary the speed at which we're going. So if we're going to move on from celery, we'll move on to a carrot. Same exact technique, except the carrot's a bit harder. So like I said, I like to start with celery. It's a soft vegetable. It doesn't move on you. However, a carrot, it's a bit harder. It's going to move on you. So this requires a little more attentiveness, but it's the same technique. We're going to grab the food with our left hand. We're going to roll back our fingers, and we're going to chop through the food. This is where it becomes very important to let the knife do the work for you and let it slice the food for you. And this is the same thing. I'm just rolling my hand or moving my hand backwards as I'm rock chopping, never letting the knife leave the board, and just kind of slowly working my way through the vegetable. There's nobody timing you. There's nobody watching you. You don't need to go quick. If you go too fast, you will hurt yourself. I have, like I said, hurt myself many times If you want, I can show you the scar. I sliced off pieces of the finger because I was going too fast and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing and I was overconfident. Don't get overconfident. These are very sharp. These are very dangerous. They will hurt you if you let them. All right, so we just showed you that basic rock chop, right? We're going to move on next to prepping one of my favorite vegetables and what I think every dish should start out with is an onion. Just a standard kind of yellow onion. Boom. Anatomy of the onion. You've got the head, the stalk of the onion, and you've got the root end, the bulb end of the onion. Actually, what we'll show you, what I'll tell you is a lot of the acidic juices and stuff that cause your eyes to burn are actually gathered in the bottom, the root end of the onion. So we actually want to leave that intact as much as we can to try to prevent the least amount of release of those chemicals as possible to prevent ourselves from getting teary-eyed. So what I'm going to do with this onion, I'm going to show you how to do a dice. So a dice is a bit smaller than a chop. So we're going to split the onion from top to bottom. You want to slice straight through. Get rid of half of it because we don't need it. All right. And now I'm going to, because I've now separated a bit, I'm going to take a couple layers and I'm going to peel back all the skin of the onion that I don't need it. All right. So now we've got half of an onion peeled up. We're going to take the top off. Again, this is the top. This is the stem side, not the root side. All right. So now we're going to actually prepare it for a dice. So the first cut we're going to make is actually going to be horizontally through the onion. So I'm going to very gently hold the top, not pressing down, I'm not squeezing it, I'm just kind of gently supporting it. I'm going to run my knife horizontally through the onion, not all the way through. I'm stopping about 1 centimeter from the end. If you can see kind of where that cut stopped, I'm stopping 1 centimeter from the end. Keeps it all together, keeps it from getting away from us. Next, we're going to turn it 90 degrees. We're going to do slices. Again, I'm not cutting all the way through. I'm leaving about 1 centimeter of the onion left. And I'm doing about 0.5 centimeter thick slices through the rest of the onion. I'm just slowly, I'm picking my knife up and I'm slicing down through. Again, it's all stayed together so far. I'm not holding anything together. It's keeping itself together. Then we're going to turn it 90 degrees once more and doing that same chop that I showed you guys already. We're going to chop down 90 degrees from what we just did. And if you notice, the onion just falls apart into these beautiful little diced chunks. And I'll get one more. The onion just falls apart in these beautiful diced chunks. Really easy, doesn't get away from you. Everything is all the same size. It'll cook the same. This is a beautiful technique if you're processing a bunch of onions for like a Western omelet or something. In fact, speaking of Western omelets, I'm going to show you guys how to do my next favorite vegetable, peppers. Love peppers. So what we're going to do, we have the same thing as peppers we have in onion. We got the top, the stem, where the green is, and we got the bottom, the root. Or not the root, because peppers grow, whatever. So we're going to top and tail this again. We're going to take the top off. We're going to take the bottom off. Throw those away. And now we have just a tube of pepper. Here's the fun part. This is the fun part with peppers. We're going to lay it down flat. We're going to lay our knife flat again, like this. And we're going to slice into the pepper. And as we slice, we're going to slowly unroll the pepper. Right? So I'm slowly unrolling. And as I'm unrolling, I'm pulling out all of that, I'm pulling out all of those, the membrane and the seeds and everything with me. And I'm left with just the insides of the pepper. Throw those away. And what I'm left with is one beautiful strip, whole strip, all held together of pepper. What I can do now, using that same rock chop, we're going to julienne the pepper. Julienne is just really thin strips. It's a fancy term. So we're going to lay the pepper flat, and same rock chop that we did already. We're just going to slowly go down, processing through the pepper. Boom, boom, boom. You see, I'm just leaving nice thin strips, perfect for snacking. Dip in some ranch sauce. Throw it in a pot with your or throw it in a pan with some oil, do a stir fry. Just going to finish processing this really quick, and then I'll show you what we can do next. All right, so I've got my pepper all julienned up. I'm going to take it. I'm going to gather those pieces. I'm going to turn them 90 degrees again. This is a little more difficult because these are all separate now, so they're not going to hold its shape. But we can kind of pinch it with our thumb and pinky, hold things together, guide it with our middle finger, and rock chop through the rest of the pepper. And again, bam, beautiful little diced pieces that you can then throw in, do a Western omelet with your onions. So in fact, what I had for dinner last night after I had done practicing this, with all this, threw it in the pan, made some eggs. The last thing, see, I've got still got some time. Yep. Okay, still got some time. I'm going to show you guys garlic, how to process garlic. So we've got a head of garlic here. We're going to break this. Oh my gosh, that garlic's rotten. Throw that away. Excuse me while I get into my fridge and grab another head of garlic. That was really gross. Glad you guys didn't see that. So I got a head of garlic. I'm going to peel the outside layer off. And we're going to get one of these pieces inside. This is a clove. So if you've heard a clove of garlic, you got the head, you got the clove. So this is a single clove. Notice it's covered in this papery layer. The first thing is going to be to get that off. Now, sometimes if you're lucky and the garlic's ripe, that will just fall right off. However, this stuff is not being cooperative. So what we're going to do, you can use the palm of your hand for this, or you can use the flat of your knife if you don't want to smash it. Lay the garlic flat on the board, lay your knife flat on top of it, give it a little pop with the palm of your hand, and that will cause the paper of the garlic to just fall off. Now we have a beautiful unwrapped clove of garlic. Again, I'm going to take the top and the bottom off. You don't want. All right. So this is much smaller, but again, exact same technique as before. I'm just going to rock chop very thin slices through this garlic. Very, very thin. This is where you have to be very careful because thin work like this, close to your hand, you can get yourself into trouble. But we're just going to take it slow. I'm gonna have some, roughly processed garlic here. All right. So next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna line the garlic back up, gonna bunch it back up here, and I'm gonna go through one more time. I'm just gonna chop through again, and I'm just making progressively smaller and smaller pieces of garlic. Now I've kind of got little cubes of garlic. All right. Next step, I'm gonna show you the next kind of technique. I don't know the name for. I know it has a name, and I can't think of what it is. It's on my head, whatever. We're going to, again, hold the knife in the pinch grip, set it on the board. We're going to place our left hand on the top side of the knife here, away from the blade. Nothing is near the blade. This is safe. And we're just going to slowly rock up and down, or quickly rock up and down. I'm not lifting up high. I'm just rocking. And what I'm doing is as I'm going through the garlic, I'm just dicing it up. This is a really thin, or really mince. This is what this is. We're mincing the garlic. Scrape the blade off, scrape it back together, mince it up. All right. So now we're almost done. But what we really want is a garlic paste. To start with our saute with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of salt, kosher salt. I'm going to take a pinch of it, throw it in my garlic, and this is how we turn this garlic from a little mince into a paste. Sprinkle some on there. The salt that we just added is going to add a little bit of friction, and it's going to help us smash this into a paste. So the salt on there, take the flat of the knife, and I'm just going to press and smear the garlic out onto the board. And again, because I've added a little bit of salt on there, it grinds it. And I'm left with this beautiful garlic paste. And like I said, boom, throw that in with some butter, make a garlic butter. I could throw that into a pan as the beginning of a saute. and throw some onions on it, then throw these peppers in, and then throw the celery and carrots on, throw some chicken into that, and some soy sauce, and some vinegar, and some sesame oil. Bam, you got a stir fry that's better than what you're going to get out of the Chinese takeaway place, and a lot cheaper. All told, these veggies were like $10 maybe, and I can get 3, 4, 5 meals out of this. So it really does pay to learn some really basic kitchen skills. So I just want to go over kind of a really quick recap of what we did, and then I'll show you one other tool that we can use in the kitchen that'll really do a lot for us. So again, pinch grip, wrap your hand around the knife. This gives us maximum control. Claw with the left hand and rolled back, guiding the knife in a rock chop as we're going down the food. We also have the mince, so we put our hand on the back of the blade and quickly rock up and down. The smearing to press the garlic out. If you have like one of those like little garlic presses that like you put the head of garlic in there and you smash it, throw those away in the trash. They're garbage. Learn to mince the garlic. It's a way better product. It'll be a lot fresher. And if you buy the stuff in a little can from the store that's suspended in oil, throw that away too. There is one other knife that I really like that I've gotten into recently. This is a Japanese style knife. It's called an akiri. This is it's a Japanese vegetable cleaver. This is fantastic for processing vegetables like this. This one's made by Henkel, so it's a bit more expensive. The first one of these I got, though, was from Amazon for like $12, and I still have it, and I love that knife. Because you notice it's a flat belly, there's no rocking motion that we're going to do with this. We're not doing a rock chop. We are just doing a slice. A slice is a one solid motion downwards horizontal, downwards diagonally through whatever we're doing. So we're just going to take this and we're just slicing. Again, I'm still guiding the knife with my left hand, but I am bringing it up off the board and I am slicing down through. I really like this style of knife. They're not great for anything other than processing produce. It looks like a little cleaver, but I would never use this as a cleaver. It's too fragile. But it is fantastic for processing produce, and I really, really dig these. I recommend them for anybody who wants to kind of up their game from a standard chef's knife. Like I said, I can highly recommend these Victorinox knives. I got them off of Amazon. This is the I think it's the 2063 is the steel in there, which is a really good steel. Holds an edge very well. I recommend these to everybody, and they're under $30. I will take any questions or ideas that people have about cooking, any techniques that people want me to show them. I was going to, fortunately, ran out of time. I was going to show you guys how to do process a chicken breast, but I didn't have enough time to get one. So if there are no questions, let's see, what else can I show? Oh, here, let's show you something. So this is just a cucumber. I had this earlier because I was practicing with it. Let me show you guys what's known as cutting on a bias. This is really good if you're doing like party favors or like a cheese platter or something. So I just got a cucumber here. What I did is I ran a vegetable slicer down all four sides just to kind of pull off one thin layer around it. And what I'm going to do, instead of cutting perpendicular to the vegetable, I'm going to cut on an angle. It's called cutting on a bias. I'm just going to slice down. Again, this is the slice, so I am bringing it up. I'm leaving the board, and I'm just cutting off very thin slices. But these are nice kind of garnishes that you can throw on the side of a plate. It makes it look fancy without actually causing or taking any real effort other than your basic knife skills. Throw those around with some on a cheese board with some ranch in the middle, some julienne peppers, and some celery. You're good to go. Don't buy them from a market basket. They're overpriced. So hopefully you guys can kind of know your way a little bit around the kitchen. Oh, the last thing I wanted to talk about is cutting boards. I can't believe I forgot this. Cutting boards are the second most important thing next to the knife. A good cutting board will increase the life of your knife. It will increase the life of the edge on your knife. Go with wood or go with plastic. Do not ever go with glass. Don't go for slate cutting boards, which I see occasionally, and never go for like those really thin plastic roll-up ones. Don't do that. Any hard surface is going to dull your knife quickly. I have a question here. No, I do not do any other cooking videos. I just do cooking for fun and at home. So yeah, unfortunately I don't. I am planning on, once all this COVID stuff is over, I've been trying to figure out how to do some basic cooking stuff at Lowell Makes. And probably in the new place, once we have a better facility for it, I will be doing some cooking at Lowell Makes. And some really basic stuff. But no, I don't do any other videos. So sorry, to go back to the cutting boards things. Go with plastic or go with wood. Plastic, if you don't want to take too much care of it and you have a dishwasher and you want to throw it in the dishwasher, you should not throw a wood cutting board in the dishwasher. I'm getting a thumbs up that my time is almost done here, so I'm going to wrap up. But you can get really cheap cutting boards. This is from IKEA. It was like $15, and it's a really good butcher block. Or you can get a plastic one from Target, but please stay away from the really thin, hard ones. It'll dull your blade really quick. All right, I think that is all I have the time for. Thank you guys very much for tuning in and for watching. Hopefully you guys have the confidence now to start doing some really basic stuff in the kitchen. And I will turn it over to our next interstitial here. All right, thanks guys. Bye.